On the news this morning, Governor Obiano charges incoming legislators at both federal and state levels to make laws that will benefit the masses. Christians charged to give the Holy Spirit lead role in their daily lives. More than 1,500 Nigerians civil society groups sue National Assembly over welcome package for legislators. Palestine considers to sue U.S. ambassador over comments on annexation of West Bank. Good morning and thanks for joining us on the news. Apologies for beginning behind schedule. My name is Nonye Nwokoye. Governor Obiano has charged the incoming State Assembly to sustain the successes of the past Assembly in ensuring that every Onye Anambra is given a better life. Governor Obiano was speaking to the ABS in Abuja, where he assured of his support to the legislative arm of government to perform their roles better. He also called on federal legislators elected from Anambra to sponsor bills that will protect the interest of the state at all times.
Well, they should continue with what the 8th Assembly did and do better. Started with training. I've already sponsored them for a training. That's very critical, so they will know the roles of legislators. Then of course, the other things will follow when they are properly sworn in.
Following the impressive turnout of students and successes recorded at the just concluded Anambra Academicals Championship, the state government has advised school management to find ways to encourage students who participate in school sports to do well also academically. Governor Willie Obiano gave the advice at Agwata Local Government Headquarters, Ekulobia, during a celebration party organized by the Council for the champions of the under-17 and 13 categories of the Anambra Academicals Championship for making the local government proud. Our correspondent Chibozo Obidike has a report.
Community Secondary School Oga and Central School Ekulobia, all in the council area, who won both the senior and junior categories of the 2019 Academicals Championships, smiled home with English dictionaries, textbooks for their school libraries and individual catch awards, among others. Speaking, Governor Obiano, who pointed out that a healthy body harbors a healthy mind, revealed that the initiative is one of the ways to actualize child and adulthood experience as it takes their thoughts away from social vices. The Governor, who was represented by his special advisor on medical supplies and facilities, Mr. Vincent Opala, asked that for a student to be listed in the school team, such student must be academically sound, as education remains the bedrock of any society. In their various remarks, the member representing Agwata 1 constituency in the State House of Assembly, Honorable Aiko Menwa, who also chaired the occasion, the Transition Committee Chairman of Agwata Local Government Area, Honorable Eche Zibe, were overwhelmed by the 2 trophies and said that the success attracts recognition. Hence, stakeholders in the council area should appreciate and encourage the students to continue in the right path, as it will lead them to greater heights.
They did a very nice job even at the field. They are winning Anambra by law. They are prepared for it. They are so much organized. The team is in the Okuma. So here I can harness a lot of talent.
It's important that the local government celebrate the children, because if you celebrate them, it will give them motivation and encouragement to do more, to play more.
Some dignitaries who spoke at the event, including a former rector, Federal Polytechnic Oko, who is also an old boy of Central School Ekulobia, Professor Obamoba, Senior Special Assistant on Disability Matters, Barrister Chuks Ezewuzie, and ABGA Chieftain Chief Titus Anibogo, and ABGA Chairman for Agwata, Chief Ezechukwu, while thanking Governor Obiano and the State Sports Development Commission for their good initiative, congratulated the students and noted that primary education remains the foundation for a brighter future in the education sector, calling for its development. Responding on behalf staff of the winning schools, the principal, Community Secondary School Oga, Mr. Emmanuel Ibeneme, and the headmistress, Central School Ekulobia, Lady Christiana Nwafo, appreciated both the state and local governments for their conducive learning environment provided for children and assured that the schools will continue to do their best in the upbringing of students.
The humanitarian service of the wife of the governor of Anambra State, Dr. Mrs. Ebele Chukwu Obiano, has continued to attract commendations and series of recognitions. The latest of such recognitions came from the board, management, staff and students of St. John Innovation Institute of Management and Technology, GIMATEC, Neni, in Anocha local government area, who presented the governor's wife and founder of the Caring Family Enhancement Initiative, CAFE, with an award of Skillful Education and Empowerment Excellence during the unveiling of the school, which is now a federal government-approved institution. We have details of that report.
Speaking shortly after receiving the award, which was presented to her by the Catholic Bishop of Awka Diocese and Chairman Board of Directors of the school, Most Reverend Paulinus Ezokafo, the wife of the state governor, Dr. Mrs. Obiano, expressed her profound gratitude to the school for the honor done her and promised to continue to use the CAFE initiative in touching the lives of the people. The governor's wife was represented on the occasion by the Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of Transport Company of Anambra State Trackers, Dr. Ifi Madakase, charged students to always enroll in those courses that will make them employers of labor rather than job seekers.
I should give thanks to the director and the entire management of this great institution because they have been focused. That is only with being focused that they can attain this giant stride.
In an address, the rector of the school, Reverend Father Francis Michael Enyesiobi, commended the governor's wife for her support to the school, especially in the upgrade of its library, which was renamed after her.
My dear friends, tell the public, tell the Anambra, the good people of Anambra, and tell the gentlemen and ladies of the press that if we must survive in this country, we must pay attention to vocational technical education.
The chairman on the occasion, Sir Augustine Ibeme, had earlier in his opening remarks charged parents to always invest in the education of their children to secure a bright future for them.
Chairman of the Foundation, I said this, you know, on the inside so we have a young, I want university, I want university and technology, first stage.
The unveiling ceremony of St. John Innovation Institute of Management and Technology, NENI, performed by Governor Willie Obiano, attracted dignitaries including a former governor of Anambra State and PDP vice presidential candidate in the February 2019 presidential election, Mr. Peter Obi, Senator Uche Ekwunife, Commissioner for Tertiary Education, Science and Technology in Anambra State, Professor Theresa Obiekezie, a philanthropist, Sir Ikem Nokafo, and Chief Simeon Eisi, among others.
We say congratulations to the wife of the governor. Moving on, the state chairman, Nigerian Institute of Architects, architect Osita Paul Okafor, has described architects as the prime consultants in building profession across the world. Correspondent Chibuzo Okoye reports that architect Okafor gave the description at the end of their emergency EXCO meeting in Oka.
According to architect Okafor, government at all levels in Nigeria have relegated the roles of architects to the background. Hence, the incessant building collapse across the nation, and appealed to Anambra State government to implement the already published white paper report on building collapse published in October 13, 2014 to stop the ugly trend in the state. He explained that it is unconventional and unacceptable that non-architects assume the role of architects even in the state, and called on Governor Willie Obiano to stop the process of preparing and signing of architects' payment certificate by non-architects in the State Ministry of Housing, Oka.
Architects are the leaders. They are the prime consultants in building industry. Now in Anambra State, some of the major works you see around were not done by architects. They are done by other people who we regard as sparks. You have all these people doing the job of architects. The architects are not allowed to do the job they are supposed to do. And that's why they will have the problem in the housing sector, building collapses and all that. Most of the buildings you saw, that are collapsing, were done by quacks.
The National Chairman of Practice Committee, Nigeria Institute of Architects, Architect Ifeanyi Nnobi, pointed out that for a good building construction, competent architects must be fully involved and suggested that any developer of a collapsed building should be prosecuted for manslaughter to serve as a deterrent to others.
So the building contractor has to be very, very careful. If you have failed to use competent and qualified professionals in your building development projects, then you have inadvertently programmed for that building to fail.
The state architects also called on the state government to always involve architects each time they are setting committees for collapsed building. In Oka, this is Chibuzo Koye for ABS News.
The chaplain of Divine Mercy Chaplaincy, Chukwuemeka Odumegu Ojukwu University Teaching Hospital, Amako, Oka, Reverend Father Justin Ezechukwu, has called on Christians to be committed to the Lordship of the Holy Spirit, who is the giver of spiritual gifts for better service to God, the Church, and the society. He made the call in a homily during the Holy Mass to mark the Feast of Pentecost. Emmanuel Chibata has the report.
Reverend Father Ezechukwu said that Pentecost Sunday is celebrated to commemorate the coming of the Holy Spirit upon the apostles and other followers of Jesus Christ during the Pentecost day. He charged the church to always pray hard and receive spiritual gifts of the Holy Spirit, such as love, wisdom, self-control, and among others, so as to please God.
Chapter 8, Paul says, I was gentle and meek.
Similarly, at the Church of the Holy Spirit, Paul University, Oka, the curate of the church, Reverend Jeff Udochukwu, who spoke on the theme, Empowered to Empower, charged Christians to always remain peaceful and live in unity as the disciples of Jesus was when the Holy Spirit visited them on the day of Pentecost.
To live in peace and unity and follow the footstep of Christ, follow the word of God, follow that instruction which Jesus has given.
Also at St. Stephen's Parish Church, Agolo, the vicar of the church, Venerable Silas Ike, who noted that the Feast of Pentecost also commemorates the official inauguration of the Christian church by the apostolic preaching of St. Peter's, implored all to love and forgive, as God has loved and forgiven mankind. From St. Stephen's Parish Church, Agolo, I am Emmanuel Shibata, reporting for ABS News.
Going national now, more than 1,500 concerned Nigerians Socio-Economic Rights and Accountability Project, SERAP, Budget and Enough is Enough Nigeria have filed a suit asking the Federal High Court to restrain, prevent and stop the National Assembly Service Commission from paying the incoming members of the 9th National Assembly individually and or collectively over 4.68 billion naira as welcome package. SERAP, Budget and EI suing for themselves and on behalf of 1,522 concerned Nigerians stated that the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission RMF-AFC has failed to do any downward review of salaries and allowances of members of the National Assembly since 2007 in spite of the economic downturn in Nigeria. Yet the Commission is statutorily required to review the pay of the lawmakers in conformity with the country's economic realities and to achieve fiscal efficiency. In the suit number filed before the Federal High Court in Lagos, the plaintiffs argued that given many years of extreme poverty in the country and the inability of several state governments to pay salaries of workers and pensions, the refusal of failure of the Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission to review and cut the salaries and allowances of members of the National Assembly is a gross violation of the 1999 Constitution of Nigeria as amended, and the Commission's own act. Joined as defendants in the suit are the Senate President, Speaker of the House of Representatives, National Assembly Service Commission, and Revenue Mobilization Allocation and Fiscal Commission. A former chairman of the Amuwo Odofi local government area of Lagos State, Mr. Ayodele Adewale, has pleaded with President Muhammadu Buhari to unfreeze the bank account of the late Chief Moshood Abiola frozen during the military regime of the late military dictator General Sani Abacha. Adewale, who applauded Buhari for the posthumous National Award of Grand Commander of the Order of the Federal Republic, conferred on MKO as the winner of the 1993 presidential election and the declaration of June 12 as Democracy Day, also sought compensation for the deceased family. He further urged the federal government to recognize the families of some unsung heroes who died in the struggle for the actualization of June 12. Adewale, in an interview, argued that the need for reparation became imperative to enable the family to resuscitate the dilapidated companies of the late businessman after the federal government seized the firms. And from the foreign scene, the Palestinian Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Expatriates is considering filing a complaint against the U.S. ambassador to Israel, David Friedman, at the International Criminal Court, ICC, over his recent comments on the long-awaited U.S. peace plan. Friedman, a staunch supporter of Israeli settlement, said Israel has the right to annex at least some of the occupied West Bank in an interview published by the New York Times on Saturday. In a press statement, the ministry condemned Friedman's remarks, describing him as a threat to regional peace and security, and his words as an extension of the policy of the U.S. administration, which is fully biased towards the occupation and its expansionist colonial policies. The ministry said, unquote, "What reasoning could justify Friedman's logic that Israel has the right to annex parts of the West Bank? International law prohibits the annexation of a land by force, as well as a reality imposed by occupying powers." Friedman's remarks elicited a strong reaction from Palestinian politicians. Senior Palestinian official Sieb Erekat had said on Saturday that any such policy would be tantamount to U.S. complicity with Israel colonial plans. However, United States does not recognize the jurisdiction of ICC. And on sports news, Gennett Rowe, Super Eagles coach, has dropped Kelechi Iheanacho, Leicester City forward, and Rotterdam's Semi Ajayi from the 23-man final squad for the 2019 African Cup of Nations in Egypt. Iheanacho, who had a tough season with less of play time during the English Premier League season, was dropped due to lack of fitness. In the last season, he came on as a substitute for Leicester City 21 times, started 4 times in the EFL Cup, and scored just 1 goal. He featured just once for the Foxes in the 2018-19 FA Cup. Ajayi, who had a splendid season with his championship side, also failed to scale the talents in the defense. FC Midtjylland's Paul Onuachu and Victor Osimhen of Royal Charleroi, Belgium, are the new call-ups in the Super Eagles. The Eagles will take on Africa's #1 team, Senegal, in their final pre-AFCON friendly on June 16. And now remember that you can follow news and programs on ABS from any part of the world by liking our Facebook page at ABS Radio Television. Subscribe to our YouTube at youtube.com/ABS Radio TV online. Follow us on Twitter at ABS Radio TV and on Instagram at ABS Radio TV. You can also log on to our website at www.absradiotv.com. And the main news again, Governor Obiano has charged incoming legislators at both federal and state levels to make laws that will benefit the masses. Christians have been charged to give the Holy Spirit lead role in their daily lives. More than 1,500 Nigerian civil society groups sue National Assembly over welcome package for legislators. And from the foreign scene, Palestine is considering to sue U.S. ambassador over comments on annexation of West Bank. And that's just about it on the news. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Nonye Okoye. Good morning.